Unsolicited advice.
It's gonna be fun. I like
All
this.
right. Hi, everybody. It's Unsolicited Advice, episode 13, coming to you live from the attic of 3rd and Hollywood. I'm sitting with my buddy, my favorite conversational work colleague and friend, Rey Pena.
Hello, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you don't be flicking it like that. Just, you got it.
So, I mean, it feels good.
It does. It feels nice to hold the microphone.
It does feel nice to hold the mic.
We are recording this from upstairs, where we all, the employees of 3rd and Hollywood, put our stuff. Ken's is up here, watching me and Ray be goofy and sitting in our own little podcast studio here. Ray,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm great. I feel good.
We just did brunch.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible.
Oh, not too bad.
No, Saturdays are always super chill here. at
Super
3rd and
slow.
Hollywood. Yeah, super slow.
I like it. It's been a nice even distribution of people though.
Yeah.
Over the day.
I was done by 12, so I'm chilling. I was chilling for a while.
You were out that early?
Yeah.
No shit.
It's 4 o'clock now. We got about 35 minutes to dive into it. Ray, you prepared some topics.
Oh yeah, I did.
Which is
I had.
fantastic.
So the first topic is building foundations. Building foundations in the mental realm.
In the mental realm.
And so the second topic I also wanted to talk to you about was...
Before we continue it.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Every time you do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one location, please.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It might be better to do that.
You're right. I might need to put this down
And then
Just
just
have it.
focus like that.
Yeah, you're right.
You got this.
You're right.
Hey, Peter. Every time somebody comes up here, it's going to be one of the most annoying podcasts because every time somebody comes up here, I'm going to have to acknowledge them
It's okay.
just to make it feel natural. We're going to be doing this for 2 days because I work doubles both these days. And what a fun way to entice my coworkers to listen to my podcast.
Almost super interactive.
It is. So
Mm.
I'm going to have you adjust that. I'm going to have you pull up that.
What?
Just pull up.
Pull up?
Yeah, so like this extends.
Okay.
This mic stand extends.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
nice.
so that way it
I
can
like
come
that.
close to your mouth.
Thank
and now
you.
kind of aim it at your...
How
There you
does
go.
that? How does
This-
that?
You can tell.
Yeah,
It's nice.
It's nice.
Great. So, building foundations in the world of Rey Pena, building foundations in yourself to better prepare and to better handle the future you. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that is the idea. The idea is to, and I mean, I guess this all started because of 2018. 2018 being a challenging year for me mentally. And so
You went through a breakup.
I did go through a breakup. It was pretty hard on me, 2 years. And so I guess reorienting yourself in a correct frame of mind is difficult to do. It's easy to tell yourself how to do it, but understanding it on the emotional level is incredibly difficult. And I think only time can really put that into perspective. And
Yeah, I
so
think time is the ultimate healer, especially for breakups. Hi, Mayor.
after breakups, what's up, Mayor? And so I have been working on restructuring the fundamental level of how I think.
Stripping down the previous foundation to build a new.
Well, that's the thing, is that I never had to strip it down because
It didn't exist.
she broke it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so like I didn't think that was possible because I thought that I had previously built up such a strong foundation that it would never really break. And I guess that was the faulty logic in that foundation. I mean, I guess that's where you find it. You know what I mean? Through your biggest challenges, you find that the faults and the cracks in the foundation, which ultimately help you either make it stronger or you break that foundation and create a new one with what you've learned. And so I have been aiming to restructure myself, and not in a, and I know we talked about this a little bit before, which was using the fuel for the fire, and you and Justin were talking about it, and
Right.
I don't want to build that foundation upon a foundation of
Toxic fuel.
toxic fuel.
Of revenge or of spite or of pity.
Exactly.
Because then at the end of the day, once
Yeah.
that is, what are you left with?
no foundation, because your foundation has been satisfied, your ultimate goal, I guess.
And you're left empty.
Exactly.
You need a fuel that can continue to burn. And something we were talking about last night that when we were prepping for this was you stay. Some of us, a lot of us, get super excited, and our fuel gets all, and our fire gets to an 11. It gets so fiery, it gets so passionate,
Yeah.
and then that lasts for 2 months, and then we burn out.
Yeah.
So I guess the challenge and what we're trying to develop is keeping that at like a solid 7.5, 8. Light sparks maybe to 9 or 10, but never go below a 6, because you got to try to stay. That's your foundation. If you can build a foundation to 6, you'll never go below that.
Here's my thinking is that I don't want to go below 8. 8 and 9 is 8 and 9, that would be my sweet spot. And so
That's why I was excited to have Ray on the podcast. This is why I'm happy that he's up here with me in this attic.
I mean, why are you going to shoot for good when you could be great? You know what I mean? Nobody reaches a 10 because the 10 that's the ideal. That's where you always want to be aiming for. You can never achieve it. And so you're always striving for better.
But the closer, not a quote, but I heard a guy on a podcast once say that it's really hard to be in the top 1% of something. But it's not that hard to be like in the top 80.
Okay.
And so I think maybe striving for top 10 is it's an ethereal goal. We'll never reach it. But if you're close and you can stay at a solid 8 or 9, you can really probably conquer and do great things.
Also, I don't think that you can't be.
Also, conquering was a strange word to use. Achieve.
I like depending
like
on what you
conquering.
want to do. Conquer
Exactly.
that's a very powerful word.
It is.
And it just depends on like the intensity of your goal. So like, do you need to always remain that intense? Do you always need to remain like at an 8 or a 9? Maybe not. Maybe you can settle for a 7 every now and again. But like when you start settling for a 7, how long until you settle for a 6?
Well, what if it was since the consistency is the goal?
Yeah.
Right? If you can burn higher than 7.
Yeah.
But you can't burn lower than 6. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're shooting for 7 all the time, but with your lowest you're willing to go is 6. But you're never, or so like 8, right? So 9, 10.
Yeah.
7, 6. Those are the two. That's the, where the bell curve can happen.
Yeah.
But not allowing yourself to get to like a 2 or a 1, where me and you have both been in 2018 maybe. Or at least I've had a pretty couple lows.
I've had more than I would say more than a couple lows. I mean, I would say the second half, the tail end, was incredibly low for me. And so, like, it was learning how to be...
Like July till...
Yeah, I mean...
Like, right when I started at third,
man.
you were pretty beat up.
Yeah, oh, shit. April, dude. April. Is there no swearing on this thing? Because I've been...
You can swear.
Okay. And so...
Shit, you can swear all you want.
And so, I mean, when it was April and that happened... Or it was May. It might have been May. And anyways... And so, that middle of the summer, that hurt me. Oh, man. I was in my deepest. I don't think I've ever been that low. And so, I've explored before the bottom, or at least I had thought the bottom of where I could go. But I guess I had never really gotten to the core of where, I'd never experienced the core of love and how to truly love somebody else. And you lose yourself. You lose yourself in somebody else. And so I guess the part where it gets hard is that you blur the lines between who am I, who are they. We've been doing so many things together. We've become almost one at this point. And it's like when you start to separate, it destroys who you are a little bit. And you can't help that. Even though you want to say that you're a lone wolf or you're
tough.
You're tough.
You don't need anybody.
You don't need anybody. You don't
You
need
strong.
shit.
You a strong, independent man.
Yeah,
you don't
I'm a
need nobody.
Strong man. And so
You don't need nobody.
it's that frame of mindset of which you can't be in a relationship if you're always thinking like that. So it's kind of what we were talking about of when you start to drop from an 8 to a 7 or a 7 to a 6.
Or lower.
Lower, and you keep blurring the lines, and it's where do you set that end, that cutoff? And even if you reach that cutoff, do you say I don't care if it's a little bit less or a little bit more? And so you see that blending, and I guess it's that blending of which I've had a tough time getting over and trying to redistinguish boundaries for myself. And those foundations that I'm talking about are establishing my boundaries and where I need to be.
Knowing yourself fully, loving yourself, Maybe that's it. Maybe the higher levels of self-love are the higher levels you allow to set those foundations.
It's
Like what you'll tolerate from yourself.
mhm.
The tighter you have that, and the tighter you know Ray, Jacob, whomever,
Mhm.
it allows you to further
Well,
the next time.
So that's what I'm saying is that it's so difficult to distinguish who is Ray at this point. You know what I mean? Because after that breakup, it was like I was saying, like you become almost a little bit of them, and they almost become a little bit of you,
And then they're gone.
and then they're gone, and it is that sense of loss, and you're like, who am I? And you're kind of out there. You know what I mean? You're just floating around in the ocean, being taken at different whims.
But sometimes I think that's the best place to be as a young person, or maybe anybody, because like there's kind of like a story that
Mhm.
people have started to paint where mine's feedback. I think it's because I'm nasally.
You're getting feedback?
No, I'm good. So school, college, girl, job, home, kids, death. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the picture that's been painted, or the drawing in the lines that some of us have been navigated towards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have that, right, and you thought you did, maybe you thought you might have married this girl, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as that world got rocked a little bit, it allowed you to turn the whole thing on its head and kind of start over and start from. It's nice. It's hard to start from zero, but I think the most opportunity comes from maybe zero.
I agree. And how much fun would life be if we learned every lesson at the start of life? You know what I mean? It wouldn't be life.
Or just off the cuff, like off the first try.
Exactly.
No failures, no fun.
Exactly. No fun at all. And I'm all about fun. I'm a fun guy.
Right.
But I want to continue to be a fun person. And and this goes back to building foundations, is that if you or I were to use that toxic fuel of hatred, of anger, of that toxicity to build our foundation, then we just can't be that fun-loving person that we wanted to be before. And so we taint who we want to become and where we want to go with our thoughts.
Right.
And it drives us. And so I've been on this journey to rediscovering my passions and rediscovering how to be passionate, but not just in a like sexual capacity, being passionate about going out and meeting people, being passionate about making people laugh,
Right.
being passionate about genuinely finding common ground with another person and connecting with that person on a different level than would normally be possible for a lot of people, because they just don't care, too busy.
Other things at the front of their radar.
Yeah.
Jobs, careers, current relationships.
But that's where I come into play, and that's a little bit of me, and a part of me that's always remained is that I have always wanted to get to know people, and everybody wants to talk.
Hop over here, Dom.
Hey.
What's up, Aaron? Hop
Hey,
in here,
guys.
buddy.
And so everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to be heard, even no matter how quiet you are, how loud you are, how in the shadows you are,
Right.
how in the light
Even the
you
person who's standing in the corner of the party, they
Yeah.
want to be talked to. They just don't maybe not have the capacity. Not capacity. They have the capacity for it, but they just might not have like the know-how.
are. Yeah, I think everybody's got the capacity for it, but it's just like
Everybody wants it, I think.
well, that's what part of this breakup comes down to, is you almost become so afraid of being let down again or being abandoned.
You
in a
don't want that
sense.
to happen again.
You don't want that to happen again. And I was just wandering, and here's an example. I was just wandering around in Giant Eagle, and I remember, I had just gone to Japan. I told you about that trip a couple months back, and
You told me.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think I told you about this part.
Oh no, you haven't.
Oh, okay. So I was in Downtonbury, which is like this very crowded shopping district and nightlife place, and I started to get a little claustrophobic, and I was like, oh my god, all these people are like freaking me out a little bit. Like, there's so many people, and that has never happened to me once in my life. And so I just stood on a bridge, drank a little sake, and kind of relaxed a little bit, passing the bottle around. And so I had just like a week ago, I was at Giant Eagle, and the same thing happened. And nobody was there. Nobody was around me. I was in an empty aisle, but all the voices from the people who were dining kind
Were
of echoed
freaking you
around,
out?
and it started freaking me out. And I think being in large crowds, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's,
All of a sudden you become claustrophobic.
yeah, and I don't know if I'm like trying to push people away because I get so nervous that the closer I let people, that the easier it'll be for them to abandon me, if that's the case. And so I think that's the stem, or that's the cause of my worries, is that this whole relationship ending
Might have damaged.
it broke me. Oh, for sure. And that's why I'm so interested in building the foundation. Because I am broken. There's no doubt about that. But there's a part of me that has like that just doesn't know where to go.
What's one of the things that you're trying to do to fix that?
So that's what this first month's about, the passions. And so finding how to make people laugh.
Starting over
myself.
in the new year, you're going to do something a month.
Yeah.
Or maybe continue. So like this month, you focus on passions. Next month, passion follows with, and you do something else?
Yeah, so this whole year is tailored around my growth in my career field and where I want to go. And I want to help people. I want to make people laugh. And I always want to inspire people no matter what. But I can only do that if I set these specific boundaries for myself and if I keep challenging myself on a day-to-day basis. So when I get up in the morning, it's like balls to the walls.
Right.
You need to go. Like, how are we going to inspire people today? How are you going to inspire yourself?
Because you can't give. You can't fill up somebody else's cup if your cup is empty or cracked or damaged. So you're trying to fix your cup. You're trying to fix your foundation.
I am trying,
so then
yeah.
you can giveth unto others the gifts
Absolutely.
that are yours.
Absolutely. And so
You leaving?
I want to rebuild myself so I can help rebuild others. And so
Which is skills that if you do want to help people and you do actually want to be kind of like a, not a life coach, but
I just want to inspire people in my everyday life, not necessarily a life coach.
right. But if you want to inspire people,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to fix these things because otherwise you're selling a bill of goods that you're walking the walk, but you're not. You're talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk.
Absolutely.
So yes, you have to actually do the dirty work, do the
Yeah.
hard work, and challenge yourself to fix these issues.
Yeah.
Also, do you think you're maybe more aware right now? Maybe your head was up your ass a little bit while you were previously in large groups, and now that you're becoming a little more aware and a little more present, that the groups are freaking you out a little bit?
I don't think so, because I've always had an extent of that knowledge. I think I've never felt that before. Before that moment of abandonment, I had never felt that. And so like, it makes you fear. And like, you don't know, sometimes you're just too stupid to fear what you don't know. And so I think that might be a problem that happened here, is that I was just too stupid to know what it was, you know?
Yeah.
And now that
That's very good.
felt
That's very
I
good.
felt it in the core of my being, and it shattered me down to the deepest levels imaginable, possible.
It's a big breakup.
For me it was. And just so being challenged emotionally was an entirely different perspective. I had been challenged intellectually, and I love challenging myself intellectually every day.
And you've been
other
challenged physically. You used to be kind of overweight.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you've lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah. I think that happened when I lost my soul, but, you know.
Yeah, you traded your soul to the devil. He's like, I'm fat. I'm going to trade this. Let's knock this 50 pounds off real quick.
And so, you know, it all kind of comes in line together, as that in order to be in a healthy place, you have to be, number one, healthy mentally, which is great. But how do you start that process? And so getting where I'm at physically is the start of it. And I used to, back in the day, so what I wanted to do when I remember the first girl that I had ever told my feelings to.
Ew.
Oh my God.
Messy.
She totally, it was bad.
She rejected you.
She rejected me pretty hard. But like, it was nothing like this, because it was, you know, is that like,
It was different.
it was different. Yeah. That we never had like a real relationship. We were friends, and, you know, she just like, well, our sisters know each other, so that would be weird. And I was like, oh man, this has nothing to do with anything. She totally, oh god, she feels weird. Now I'm feeling super weird. And so we just hugged it out and went our separate ways. And you know, we're nowhere near the level of connection that that we had
previously
before.
had.
And so, I mean, she's still a friend. If I ever saw her again, which you know, I definitely plan on hitting her up at some point.
Now that you're thin.
No. No. Because she's a friend, you know what I mean? And sometimes those friendships, especially that were developed during a tumultuous period in your life, they don't just go away. Those bonds are there. They're cemented for life. And you can go 12 years without seeing somebody and be like, "Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going?"
And it's all candies and gravy.
It is, and you you snap right back to it.
Right.
And so I think
Peter.
that hello, Pete. And so I think the hardest part of that one was like I just dropped a bunch of weight, and like I did insanity 3 months straight. I was running. Oh man, I was running. It gave me motivation. And so like that was lightweight. That was lightweight emotional stuff.
Right.
She was never like we were never integrated as almost one soul or being and thought.
No, that was a
process.
nudge.
That was a little nudge.
This to compare the two. One was a nudge.
Yeah.
Of I could be better.
Oh yeah.
Then that was the first one. Then now
This
it's
is
like
like-
a push down and a kick you when you're down kind of thing.
It was like somebody drowning you when you're trying to save them. That was what it was.
When you're trying to save them.
Almost. Not quite that analogy, but like that feeling of like you try to help them or like you try to like swim in the same waters, I guess. You know what? Here we go.
She's
It's
swimming
almost like
above
you were in a pool.
Yeah.
You were in the safe end, and then you started drifting over into the deep end.
And you realized you didn't know how to swim.
And no, I knew how to swim, but they didn't, so they pushed me down in order to save themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's almost like you drowned, and you're just sitting at the bottom like, holy shit, I thought we were cool.
Right. I thought we were
good,
I thought this was a teammate.
goddamn, I guess
teammate
not.
Partner.
Jesus Christ.
Um
And so,
yeah.
Well, hold up. And so I ended up losing the weight the first time. To get back to that real quick, I ended up losing the weight the first time, and I was like, oh man, I feel great. I lost so much weight. Now that I look back on it, I was too skinny, and like I'm just not I don't have a runner's build because it's not a good look for me.
Sure.
And so I gained that weight back, you know, and I
All
tried
of it?
again. Pretty much, yeah. I was working at a pizza eatery place and then just gained that weight back like a mother.
Yeah.
And so ended up working and meeting another girl, and she was super cool. And this one was totally my fault. Oh man, I ended up I'm not proud of this. But like I did something that was very bad and like hooked up with a girl in her bed, and then still
The honesty is very good.
thought that it should be that we should be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
you're not
like,
pulling punches.
and I'm what the like what are you thinking? You know what I mean? Like that was awesome. That like that moment. It was awesome when I was there and like I was in that mentality. And like now I look back at it and I was like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You
And
know
a
what I mean?
jerk.
But that's how you learn. You learn learn by doing
The
you
right
do
thing.
learn by doing the right things, but you don't learn as hard. And when I fall, I learn from it.
Because you fall pretty hard.
I fall pretty hard.
You also kind of make you are kind of like, it's like the darn it, my nasal congestion is ruining it.
Oedipus?
Oedipus
Yeah.
there's a romanticism to always pushing yourself up the hill, but never getting to the top of the hill, always digging yourself in a hole. It kind of becomes like a fallback lifestyle for somebody who does, if you're craving the failure to get the growth, there might be a self-fulfilling sabotage of like falling back.
Yeah, and so here's the thing is that I want to be great. I've told you this. I'm not going to settle for good. And I don't think anybody else should either. You know what I mean? We should always strive to be the best version of ourselves, even if it doesn't compare to other people.
What's the
stop
best
comparing.
version? Don't compare yourself to anybody.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah, none of us are going to be built like Brad Pitt and smart like,
Exactly. So
Yeah.
just be the best version who you can be. And I have consistently tried to do that time and time again. And so when I did that and I made out with the girl and the girl I actually wanted to go out with's room, I
Made a mistake.
I made a mistake, yeah, for sure. And I just tried to learn from that because she wanted nothing to do with me, rightfully so.
Right. So right now we've talked a lot about the failures.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
Of Rey.
Well, the failures makes the person.
The failure makes the person. And then, so the plan is to do a thing a month, to kind of focus on one structure at a time, one brick at a time for a month,
Yeah.
and then carry those bricks with you.
Absolutely.
Do you have one for the next month?
I currently haven't thought of anything for the next month. I think it might be...
You're only 10 days in. You have time.
I do have time. But there's always planning to be done every day, literally every day. And so my whole reasoning for talking about the breakups and the failures was because this isn't a new plan. I have implemented this before and it worked. So after that first girl said she didn't feel the same way,
Right.
I implemented what I called the 4 phases. And phase 4 was harmony. Me and my friends still joke about it a little bit, and we just say phase 4.
Right.
And we all know what we're talking about, right? And so
all you and your friends.
Well, so is my...
I'm in the dark. I do not know what
So
phase
is-
1, 2, or 3, or 4 is.
Well, let me enlighten you a little bit. So, like, this is a very... This 12-month step... The 12-step program here that I'm doing is now a little bit deviated. It's more of a longer, drawn-out version.
Maybe it's the whole life plan.
Absolutely, because great things are built over time.
Yeah.
They don't just come into existence after a day or an hour or a minute.
Right. Or one strategy session.
Exactly. And so this is going to take time, but phase 1 was all about getting into the right shape. And I was so down.
Physically or mentally?
Physically.
Okay.
Physically. That's phase 1. And
Okay.
so phase 1 is the body. And you need to eat right. You need to...
You're a vegetarian now.
I'm a vegetarian now, but this wasn't always the case, and definitely not when I created phase 4.
Okay.
And so eating right, becoming in a better place mentally requires that you feed your body, you nurture it, you take care of it.
The mind and the body are one.
Exactly, and that's where phase 2 comes in.
Is the mind.
And so you just need to, take up all the literature that you can get. Whether that be fiction, nonfiction.
So spend your time feeding the brain.
Oh, yeah. And
Is
it's not
phase 2.
just feeding your body. You know what I mean? It is that mind-body connection of which you need it to be strengthened. You need to resolve this spirit to,
Right.
get there.
And these aren't new ideas. These are ancient as human beings. Aristotle, I
Oh
think,
my
was the
God.
first to write them down.
Absolutely.
Or Plato, at least.
Absolutely. And so phase 3 is about communication. Social communication, personal communication on like a very fundamental, deep level where you can go out and you can talk to people and you start to get to know their interests, get to know your own interests, and you're like, wow, maybe I do like this. Maybe I didn't know that I would like this as much as I do now.
Yeah.
Because this person has shared their passions with me and allowed me to share they've enlightened me as to how fun it can be given the right circumstances.
Okay.
And so phase 4 is the culmination of all of this.
So body, mind, relationships, and then
So phase 4
harmony.
is that is literally that's the word. It's
Well, you
harmony.
dropped it.
It's synergistic. It's synergy at its finest.
It's
And
all
so-
3 of those things working together to propel
Here's the thing.
the person through life.
Yes. But I didn't realize that until after I had gone through the phases. So originally the phases were designed for me to get some punene. Right? Because I was just like a fiend. I was a fiend. And
Okay, before you continue any
Yeah.
further, you've never been recorded before.
Yes.
You are not. This is. 40, maybe 40 people are gonna watch this. But the fact that you're willing to just go, no holds, taking off the gloves, saying punene live to my aunt, my mom, and the 2 other my 3 friends who listen to this. That's a big, bold move, bro.
Yeah.
I respect the shit out of it. You have no idea.
Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
And so I try to be as honest as possible with myself mostly, so that way I can be honest with other people. Because why waste my time? Why waste anybody's time?
Right. And it's more fun.
It is more fun.
If you're gonna
it's
say
funny.
punene, if it's part of right to say punene, then it's part of right to say punene.
Exactly. And so I was trying to get some punene, and that was the whole idea of phase
Son of
4.
a bitch.
But it
Oh my
just
God.
but it just wasn't what I wanted after I went through all the phases, and I realized that, and I was like, what am I doing? Why did I start this journey in the first place? And I questioned my very foundation, the foundation of which the 4 phases helped me grow. You know
Because
what
your
I mean?
fuel was something not wrong, but it wasn't for self-development. It was for, one girl rejected me, so
Mhm.
now I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get smart, I'm going to get witty with people, and
Yeah.
I'm going to hopefully get a version of her, or if not better.
Absolutely. And all that led to was me being a douche. and so and so I got it was actually I just told you this afternoon. It was when I got booted out of OSU I was academically dismissed.
Yeah.
I kind of had to rethink my strategy again, and I was like, man, I feel
Was that during all the phases?
No, this was past the phases. I had moved past this
So
a little
instead
bit,
of-
so I was good. I was
Instead of feeding your mind with coursework and homework, you were feeding your mind with
experienced.
and literature of your own choosing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, and so I'd incorporate. That's the thing about phase 4 is that once you reach it, you incorporate it into everything you do, and it just becomes a part of you. It's just daily habits.
What size do you need, Rudy?
Are you
Rudy has to
Gloves?
get some
This one?
gloves. Rudy from the kitchen.
large?
Some
You good?
large.
Oh wow.
What's up, bro? You want to say hi? No? Don't yank my shit.
Oh my bad. I'm sorry. All right, Rudy.
All right, continue.
And so, anyways,
See, the funny thing about this is it doesn't matter who comes up and watches us, because me and you have been having these conversations while we work together,
yeah.
just on the floor in front of everybody, on the
Yeah.
clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
And so,
Yeah. What are you gonna fucking do? Can't stop it.
And so, where did I leave off? Oh yeah,
You were
academically dismissed.
academically dismissed.
Yes. And so I was academically dismissed, and oh man, I was pretty lost. And so I had to resolve myself once more, because I was wandering. And it's weird because sometimes when you're wandering in your mind, you'll start to realize that you're literally wandering in the physical realm. And so you start to find yourself pacing, and you're like, why did I come back into this room? Or like, why did I come up here? Why did I come upstairs? You're like, I was wandering, but like it transcends from your mind, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it kind of projects outwards, and it starts to incorporate
You're forgetting
your
things. You're thinking
behaviors.
too much. You're
Yeah.
too in your head.
Exactly. And so being out of your head,
Allows for freedom
it does. But
and purpose.
when I got booted,
Yeah.
I restarted the phases, and
Yeah.
that was when I first came to Third and Hollywood, and I was out of a job because the job I had was at school, and I had to be going to school in order to work there, and so I came to Third and Hollywood, and my whole goal was to restructure myself again, and I was like, man, I just don't want to be a douche anymore. I feel
It's a good place to do it here at Third and Hollywood.
it was great, and there was a great people.
Got to show up with your shirt ironed. Got to show up shaved. Got to show up ready. Got to show up on your fucking game.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Oh man, you have no idea. When I first started, it was like great team. It was just everybody was excited to come in here, and everybody knew what to do and how to do it. And it was
You were working with a bunch of veterans.
some of the best people I have ever worked with in my life.
Right.
And they made me excited to come in here every day
And try your best.
and try my best and be better.
Yeah.
And so this is I could not have come to the right place at the right time better than how I did
Right.
when I came here. And so everybody here helped me to realize how to be better. And so I tried to incorporate. I mean, they didn't know it, but like I was taking little lessons from every one of them.
All the time.
Which you should always be doing in life anyways.
Right. Anybody can be your teacher. Everybody is your teacher.
Exactly.
And just to highlight that the staff here, the staff here now, basically as soon as they hired me, didn't take a turn for the worse. Just we became more oriented on maybe chit-chatting or being friends. No, I'm just kidding. Third and Hollywood is a great place, and I've had a similar experience here. I could not be happier. This place is a really excellent place to work.
It is a fantastic place to work. And
I love
it's compared to so many other companies that I've that I've seen in my days.
You want to tilt the mic towards you so now then you
Oh
have
yeah,
to do
sorry.
everything.
My bad.
You're
Just
good,
gotta
bro.
sprawl out here.
Yeah, man. Get cozy.
And so I get how bad other companies can be, and this is a great company, but like I think it's time for me to move on just because I've taken so many lessons from here, and I think I've taken all I can.
You've also been here for quite some time.
I have almost 6 years. 6 years in May. And so
You're ready you're ready.
I'm ready to explore. To explore not only the physical realm, because that's what I did last year, but like to explore myself mentally again. And like to be on my own it was scary for me at first, and that's why that tail end was so nerve-wracking.
Rough.
Yeah, of that second half of last year.
So what I enjoy about this is that, and I think what the real takeaway could be,
Yeah.
because we're about to have to be at alignment.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's all right. So what I like most about this story that you've told so far is that you keep checking in. So you made a plan back in when you were 19. When did the 4 phases thing start?
I guess that wasn't when I was 19. Yeah.
Okay, so you're 19. You make this 4 phases thing.
Yeah.
And every time you've kind of had a roadblock in your life, you check back in with your pillars, with your foundation.
Yeah.
And you strip it down a little bit, but each time you're building back up higher and higher. So right now, maybe that first time you built layer 1.
Yeah.
The second time when you first started here, you got academically based. Those are pretty big hits. So I might even say you built 2 layers there. And then maybe by the end of this one, you'll have 2 or 3 built.
Maybe. This has been my
And you're always chasing 4. You're always chasing harmony.
I am. I mean,
Which you should be chasing till happiness is a constant work.
Yeah.
Some days are harder than others. Some weeks, some losses are bigger than others. It's hard you got to maintain happiness. It's a constant work, just like maintaining the body is a constant work.
It is. It's an everlasting journey. It's an everlasting journey, and that's the fun of it, though. You know what I mean? Like, if it only lasted 2 years, that would fucking suck.
Right, and then you're miserable for the rest of your life?
Yeah. No, thank you.
No, thank you. With that, I think it's a perfect place to leave. We'll do part 2 tomorrow because we both had to do a double.
I like that.
Do you like that?
I like that a lot.
All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Say bye, Ray.
Oh, later, guys. Thanks for listening.
I'm not always right. I'm only trying to be nice. With my unsolicited advice. Unsolicited advice.